Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here. I had a user write in, actually commented in on my D3000's manual mode video. And unfortunately, I forgot to get the user's ID so I can address them about it. I should have known that I was going to forget something. But here I am with my D3000, starting to get a little wore out actually. I think it's getting about time to retire it. But anyway, the comment reads, and you can read this, go into my D3000 manual mode explained video, and the comment is there and you can read it. It reads, my D3000 won't adjust at all. The exposure compensation always stays at -2, and it's so frustrating. In shutter mode, the f-stop does not change when the shutter speed is adjusted. In aperture priority mode, the shutter speed will not compensate when I adjust the aperture. Any help? Well, it sounds to me, let's iron this out piece at a time. It sounds like your exposure compensation may be the only problem. If it's at -2, it's going to be causing it to either underexpose or overexpose. The reason why I'm unsure of that is because I hardly ever manipulate the exposure compensation. So I think that might be the biggest issue. Since and I also see, in the aperture priority mode, the shutter speed will not compensate when I adjust the aperture. Make sure that you have the focus mode set in autofocus. I do know I've run into that before with some other people. They wrote in, with the same problem, and come to find out they were trying. I found out they were trying to focus manually. And when it's doing that, it's not quite going to meter correctly. So I'm going to show you how to adjust the exposure compensation with this. Maybe that will get you back on the right track. I hope, anyway. Okay, here I am with my D3000, and I'll just go ahead and flip it on. And right there is the exposure comp, and right there is the flash comp. Okay, so we're in manual. Go ahead and dial it into aperture priority. And the way you'll adjust the exposure compensation, there's two ways to do it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and bring the display screen up. And this button right here, the plus and minus, hold it down and you can spin the wheel. And when you do that, you'll see the exposure compensation change, and of course the shutter speed is changing along with it. You rotate it to the left, it increases it. You rotate it to the right, it decreases it. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring it back down to 0. That is one way to adjust it. Another way is this plus button right here. Push it and use the navigation key over here to dial over to it. Push OK. Then you can just scroll up and scroll down, say -2.3, hit the OK button, then hit that button again, and you'll see your exposure compensations at -2.3. We'll push this again and go over here, scroll over, use this button to scroll it with, over to the exposure compensation. Push it, go ahead and use the up key, push it up to 0, push OK, then this button again, and it clears it out, and you should have normal exposures. And something that I hadn't thought about, but to change the aperture, use the wheel right here in aperture priority mode. Turn it to the right, and that increases, the number goes up, and turn it to the left, the number goes down. In shutter priority mode, yeah, the camera itself is going to compensate on its own. Hopefully with the exposure comp, that should bring all the numbers back up to like it should be. If I want like a 1/1000 or 1/500th, it's going to tell me in this situation right there, it's going to tell me that it needs to be at f7 or something like that. So hopefully, with that help, like I said, in aperture, yeah, push this button, spin this wheel, and that that compensates the exposure. Well, I hope that this has been an explanation, or a decent explanation. This my poor D3000 is getting to be a little wore out, actually. Had to order a new eye cup for it here back over the summer. So, I hope that little bit of information I passed on was at least, some kind of help. Maybe that should get you, get your exposures back up like they should be. Maybe have your focusing, well, maybe not so much the focusing, but, maybe the aperture compensating, shutter speed compensating like it should be. If not, you can go ahead and shoot me another email or even a comment to this video, and I will do something to get, I will find an answer for you. I will talk to somebody, or I will email somebody. It might even be a technical issue, actually. But I will find out for you what's going on with it. So I hope that I was at least some kind of help, and I thank you for watching, and hope you have a good weekend.